Morning, everybody. I really started these videos for my kids. Like, it wasn't to ever become a big thing or whatever else, but there's a lot of different things that I teach my kids, and I'll usually make these videos off of things they ask me or go through at school. But recently we were up at Pine Ridge where my dad had got the liquor store shut down, and a lot of people had problems with that. But it's basically destroying the youth up there. There's all kinds of pregnancy problems and fetal alcohol syndrome and Down syndrome and all these things going on because of alcohol, which, I mean, everybody needs help in certain ways, and when you don't have a lot and you're relying off government things and don't have a lot to do, usually a lot of people, even small towns, we turn to drugs, alcohol, things like that. But something I want to give to my kids and everybody is there's this narrative, like even out there with all of the oppression and all of the, I mean, this is such a broke down place and such a poverty-stricken place, and almost like what socialism becomes like when you completely rely on the government and get a check and get all these things handed to you. You don't really respect them or take care of them. And I had to learn that throughout my life with my parents telling me things like, well, you destroyed what we gave you and it's destroyed. Like, you don't get anything else. Like, if you're not going to take care of it, you won't have stuff. And we all come through different aspects. But I see a narrative out there, and it's like, well, if you're this black person or this native person or someone of color, you're gonna have it harder than everybody else. And to an extent, I understand there are some people out there that will judge you based off of your skin color, but it seems like the people of, like, these natives have such a pride. Like, and I mean, you're drunk and laying on the street, the side of the street, and still native pride. And it's like, how proud can we get in our drunkenness and our stupidity and our black pride, the white pride, all these prides? Like, why are we proud of such a shallow thing as a skin color? And I have a mixed daughter, and my kids are basically mutts. I mean, we have, my mom and grandma are Syrian Lebanese. My dad had all kinds of different nationalities in him. I look paler in the winter and really dark in the summer, but I mean, I have all kinds of different things in me. But my parents always taught me to respect all people and judge them. I mean, my dad loved quotes. And one of his favorite was from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who said, if we change the laws, hopefully men's heart will follow. I mean, that was the narrative back then in the early to later 1950s, 60s. Like, he was trying to basically say, you know, we're going to change some laws and hopefully men's hearts follow, and I believe they have. I believe you do have. Anybody, no matter what skin color, even if it is a little harder, or your sex at sometimes, this female thing, if we want this certain thing, whoever wants to work hard to go get something is going to earn whatever they get. If you don't earn it, you won't respect it. And I don't care what your skin color. I don't care your parents. Some people had both parents. Some people have no parents. Some people grow up very hard. And sometimes we can take that and we can focus on the suffering and the struggle, or we can take that and focus on, you know, I'm going to work harder and grind harder because I didn't have as much. And it also taught me to be a little bit tougher skin, a little bit thicker skin, and a little bit more hardcore. Some of the things that we do, we literally do to ourselves. But I really, if there's anything I could teach my kids or other people, it's my parents taught me this, and it was always judge the individual. You don't judge the group of people or like your native pride. And I'm not saying we forget. One of my dad's other favorite quotes was, to dwell on the past, you lose one eye. To forget the past, you lose both eyes. So you don't want to forget the past, but you don't want to dwell on the past. There's a difference between knowing our heritage and focusing on some of the history, and have some bad things happen in history. Yeah, we're not perfect. Nobody is. No people or nation is perfect, but in America we have one of the perfectest freedoms. Running water, cars. There's 2 cars to almost every family. Like, we talk about being poor, and we spend. We don't budget. We don't finance. We don't learn certain things that would help us not be poor. But one of my biggest things is don't be poor in spirit. It's not just a physically poor thing. It's a mentally poor thing. And if all you're ever going to focus on is something shallow as your skin color, or shallow as some of these narratives that we play, and I get, be proud of where you come from, know your heritage, know your background, but don't let that define you. True identity is only going to be found in the God that created us, the creator. And that's one thing I can really relate to with the native people, is they know there's a creator. They know there's an intelligent designer. They know that something created all of this. And I know it is from where I've sat in my relationship with Christ that he revealed himself to us in Christ. But beyond that road to finding the creator, to coming back, not worshiping creation and created things, but the creator who created them. And start judging people from how they act and treat one another. That's literally all you can judge people on. Like, there's stupid, ignorant, gangbanging, white, black, brown people across the board. There's educated white, black, brown people across the board. So if you're going to judge an individual, don't ever do it off of how they're dressed or off of how they look or off of their skin color, but judge them off of how they act and treat one another, because that is literally all we're doing in life. And if there's one thing you can pass to your kids, it's something my parents taught to me. You always help out your fellow man. You always do what you can for others. Love God, love people, love y'all. Like that basically is all of life. Like what we do to help. It doesn't really matter what we acquire, and I'm not saying don't be good stewards or have a home, but don't worry so much about your clothing. Don't worry about so much about what you look like, because people can look really nice and really great and really fine on the outside and just be full of crap on the inside and junk. So we have to feed the spiritual just like we feed the physical. So as much time as you spend in the mirror or on your phone, spend that time in dwelling on the Creator and our spirits and building that up. Just like we need to build up our physical and be healthy and do certain things to eat, you have to fill up this mindset and all the other things in our life that keep us being who we're going to be. And daily wake up and be grateful. I mean, we could be way worse off in America, and we make all these narratives and we divide each other off of such stupid little things. And I believe if we came together and started judging one another from how we act and treat one another, which we should just do that, period, and get off of these narratives and these black pride and white pride and brown pride and native pride and all these prides. Like I literally see a poverty-stricken people that are proud of what? Like struggling, of hood, of savage, of like across the board. It baffles my mind. It's like we gutter, we hood, we savage, and it's never we educated. I mean, that's what Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. fought for. It's what my dad helped fight with the Chicago and Omaha in the 1919 race riots. He wrote a piece on that. Like, my dad came from a very diverse family. My mom comes from a very diverse family. So I was taught to judge all people the way they act and treat one another. And I hope everyone does the same across the board, or gets and teaches our kids to do that and not grow up on a narrative of because your skin color or because of your sex or because of any of these other things, but because this is who you need to be as an individual in Christ. And that's where true identity is found. And the only identity that you're ever going to grow with is finding the Creator, Christ, God, and going with what He taught us and molded in biblical truth. So love God, love people, love you all. Take that and run with it and teach our kids that. That is the next generation. That is our future. If we're not worried about what we're teaching these young people and teaching them correctly, we're going to have a jacked up future. So don't do that. Love y'all. Have a good day.